What should you get, a kayak or stand-up paddleboard? In this video, we're gonna compare the 6 differences between the two to help you make your decision of what to get. Difference number 1, a kayak, you're sitting down, whereas a paddleboard, you're usually standing up. So on an SUP, you can also sit down, but it doesn't have a seat like a kayak. Therefore, kayaking is more comfortable since you're sitting. But some people say an SUP is more active and adventurous considering you're standing up. However, some people have issues with balance on an SUP, particularly taller people. Difference 2, speed. With the kayak, you have 2 blades, so you're able to go faster, while an SUP paddleboard, you only have 1 blade. Considering you can row on each side of your paddle while kayaking, it's easier to go faster and it burns less energy than paddleboarding. But if you want to get a workout while having fun, not only do you need to row more with an SUP, but balancing the entire time also gives you a mini workout. Difference 3, portability. Since most reliable stand-up paddleboards are inflatable, stand-up paddleboards in general are much easier to transport than a kayak. Most reliable kayaks are made of plastic and non-inflatable, but people, including myself, believe the opposite about paddleboards, where most dependable paddleboards are inflatable. Contrary to what most beginners believe, inflatable paddleboards are more impact resistant, stable, durable, and last longer than a standard epoxy hardboard paddleboard. On top of that, they're much more affordable as well. So because of the much greater chances you're going to be getting an inflatable SUP or a standard plastic kayak, in most cases, transporting an SUP is going to be drastically easier than transporting a standard plastic kayak. For example, before getting my kayak, my car didn't have a roof rack. I had to purchase and set up the standalone roof rack and then get the separate kayak racks. After that, I was able to load my kayaks, but loading them in and of itself is time consuming as well. Where on the other hand, it takes seconds to throw my SUP case in the trunk or back seat. But in case you're leaning more towards getting a kayak than an SUP, but at the same time don't want the transportation issues that most kayaks come with, you can find an inflatable kayak. However, I personally don't trust too many of them on the market, especially for longer trips. Next main difference, kayaks are much better for fishing. Not only do kayaks have a lot of bungee space so you can bring some of your fishing equipment, where a standard paddleboard does not have nearly as much space as a kayak, but also kayaks generally have fishing rod holders. Not all of them, but a lot of them do. If you're trying to fish, I would recommend a sit-on-top kayak. And the next main difference, and this probably won't apply to most of you, but you can only do yoga on a stand-up paddleboard. You can't do that with a kayak. If you do like doing yoga and you haven't tried it on a stand-up paddleboard, it's much more fun than regular yoga. And lastly, rapids. If you want to go down rapids, I highly recommend a kayak over a paddleboard. Paddleboards are not necessarily designed to go down rapids. You might see some professionals on YouTube going down rapids with a paddleboard, but believe me, if you're a beginner or an amateur, I highly recommend a kayak for rapids. And it's also much safer going through rapids with a kayak rather than a stand-up paddleboard. So those are the 6 differences I could think of. My opinion, I actually like stand-up paddleboarding more than kayaking. I just think the feeling of standing while floating on the water is so much more fun than sitting down. But don't get me wrong, kayaking is a lot of fun. I just love, I don't know, something about paddleboarding I like much more. But on the flip side, my friends who have tried stand-up paddleboarding and kayaking, a lot of my friends say trying to balance the entire time is more stressful and takes away from the fun compared to kayaking. So a lot of my friends prefer kayaking more. So I really hope this video helped make your decision. And if you like travel and adventure, subscribe to our channel. Check out our merch in the description and have a blessed day.